Good morning. So I'll let everybody funnel in here today. Give it a couple minutes and then we'll go from there. And just let everybody kind of start, all the stragglers start coming in. So I expect a quiet day, but these are days that you really need to be aware of as to what's going on. And you really need to focus on what it is that you can do. And days like today, you usually see a nice bidding up and then you see it kind of come in. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see. And we'll see how it plays out. But just be careful of buying breakouts today. They usually reverse on you, at least off the open. And that is something that, you don't want to see or don't want to be a party to. So I just want to stress that. And we're going to get into a couple of these things right now as far as what we need to really focus on. So I really think that you just be careful of buying breakouts, right? You're going to just bounce around today all over the place. And it's something that you just need to be aware of. So with that said, I'm going to go through the indexes very quickly here and talk about them. And then we can kind of just get a lay of the land. Hey, Drake. Hey, Shock. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. So let's just talk about this and what's going on. So I just want to go over this very quickly. Just understand that this still exists. This RSI still exists. This selling may be the end of this. Okay. It's very possible. So we just have to see how this plays out. We didn't take out this lower low. So that's pretty important. So just watch this, but this could be, just an area where we just churn for a little bit, but flipping over this to the 400, you're going to have to pay attention to it. Let's just start and go here. Let's go. Good morning. You take a look at BA for a potential short. I love shorting BA, Drake. It's like the easiest trade in the world. Everybody gets all excited. This time it's going to break out. No, it's not. This is where the short should have been put on, either breaking and closing below the 200 on this day. Like this is pretty textbook stuff, right? So here's your breakout. In order for confirmation of a breakout, you need to get over a higher high. There's your higher high. We do it. We have no follow through. What happens with no follow through? We sell down. I mean, essentially, this is a bearish engulfing right there, Drake, right? Because I'm more interested in the body encompassing the other body. So sell low, then you're like, okay, maybe we're going to hold, and then bam, that's it. So, and that wasn't even on data back under the downward trend line. So I would say, could you short it? Yeah, but you're looking at rallies. So you need a couple things. You need this to rally up to this line to short it, or if you break this level right here, that level doesn't look exact. Hold on one second here, Drake. Let's get rid of this for a moment. Let's make this level exact. So, okay, 204.80. Okay, and you can see how you held that right here, 204.60, 204.80. So if you break 204.50, yeah, this could get super ugly. This absolutely could get super ugly. I don't see any reason for this to continue to go back up, frankly, but maybe lower energy costs, but that's really about it. I get that. Hey, Voss, good morning. Hey, Andres. Yeah, I'm looking at CM. I know a lot of people, it's interesting. In the trading room, I already had somebody come up to me and mention, I'm looking at it as a long. I get that, but let's just review. So we had earnings. Earnings were bad, and we bounced up. So I don't think that this is going to be a disaster. Let me put it to you that way. Like, I just don't have that sense that this is going to be a outright disaster. What I would say, or what I would focus on, is people are going to be in this company. They're going to want to own this company. Okay. It's not going anywhere. Right. So it's not like PayPal, or you have someone else come out and do it. Like, there's just Zoom. It's a verb. So it's going to be around. The question is what price. So this is your action. And this is really what you should be focusing on. And you might just want to remember this. Focus on hourly charts right now. Okay, try to focus on hourly charts because it gets rid of a lot of the noise. And I'm going to pull this down here against the watermark. And let me throw this up again. Someone's going to tell me in 5 minutes I forgot. Please keep reminding me that I forget. because that way you can see what I'm looking at. But look, this is your break. This is your bear flag, right? Here's your flagpole. Here's your bear flag. Okay, this is essentially a gravestone to some extent, right? Like you're all the way down on the low end of that bar. Wicks are what? Price rejection. That's not where you want to be. So to me, yeah, if I would be saying this is how I look at it. If I break this, you could probably put a short on 205.93. If I break this on the upside, let me just get that exact and make sure I'm right there. Yep, 210 is the number. It probably runs. So that's a pretty specific bar that's going to determine the range, right? Or at least determine what the range could be. So that's very interesting to me. I really didn't have a great day. I had 1 hour where people just short covered. So let's see how it plays out. I could be on either side of that trade today, but they're the levels I would use. So let's go here. Hey, Dan, do you think it's time to look at energy again? Devin, a Pioneer. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Dan. Gobble, gobble. Do I think that we're better off in energy? Okay, so let's look at this, right? Let's just look at what happened with energy. So essentially with energy, what we saw was look at these lines. Okay. So clearly this was leaked that all these people were going to come out and increase supply of oil, right? Clearly this has happened. And this is exactly what we saw happen. Okay. And we saw the reversal at the 50-day on the news, right? So why would energy go up if they're increasing supply? That's really how you have to think. So the answer to that is it's probably not. It's probably not going to continue. It's probably going to go back to where it was before they knew that they were going to create supply. I mean, with all the oil lobbyists that are out there right now, you think that they didn't know what was going to happen. So, I mean, they knew. I don't want to get all cynical, but you see this line right here? So if I push over that line, yeah, you could have something here. That you could have a continuation of that move. And I think you need to look at it as a whole. Now, as far as Devin, what is that, DEV? I don't know that. DVN? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, what does this chart look like? It looks exactly like XLE. So it really depends on what energy does. And what I would do is I'd watch energy prices. The ones that I trade are these. Like they're just so much easier because they're basically the XLE on steroids. So to me, Oxy and MRO are the ones that I play around with just because they're essentially, and you can see by the moves, right? So you can just see these moves, right? So if you look here, just to put this in perspective for people, they'll just take this low and just go to here. I mean, we have time today. There's 8%, right? From that low over 2 days. And then you come to the XLE, okay? And then you just kind of measure this out and see how you did, right? And you're, about 75% better trading something like, Oxy or MRO. Okay. Just to put that in perspective. That's why I trade them. I almost think of like MRO and Oxy think of them as like 3X ETFs, right? That's kind of how they trade. Good morning, Di. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Neil. What do you think about getting back in the Fed calls on Apple? Here's the issue, Neil. The implied volatility is through the roof now, right? So the implied volatility of that move has changed drastically. What does that mean? That means that it's probably not something that I'm crazy about getting into right now. I want to buy when the implied volatility is low and is going to increase. I want as many edges as I possibly can. And that's one of the edges that I could get, increased volatility. After I'm in, I don't want increased volatility, and then I get in, and then it stagnates. It's just less of an edge for me, and it's just how I trade. Doesn't mean that it's the only way. It just means that's how I do it, Neil. So for me now, I don't see it yet. I don't. Maybe next week if we see a huge panic. Let me get a little more coffee. So bear with me. So I think that you have to think about it that way. The implied volatility of this move based on going 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Reversing, coming down, sitting here, based upon the implied volatility of that move, you're going to want to just, to me, you're going to just want to hold off on that. But that doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just the way that I trade, Neil. I hope that's clear. Hey, Alberta, good morning. Cameron, good morning. Bookings, yeah, I was looking at that. So I was looking at this. Like, I think you're going to turn. See how you're starting to shape here? You're getting there, right? You're holding that 200-day. That's everything you want to see. And I like this. I think that this could work. But this is a long, slow trade. And essentially your stop is here, right? I mean, this is so simple to trade. Like if you break that level, it's 75 points on a $2,500 stock, $2,400 stock. It's nothing. So that's my move. That's how you trade it, because you're going to build and base here. And this is when you have to buy these kinds of names, right? You have to buy them when they're basing, right? You can't buy them on breakouts because they're essentially value cash cow plays now. I mean, they just are very similar to, how you buy Google. Right? The way to buy Google is what? When it looks like it's going to break down, right? They're just cash cows. You buy them when they get absolutely slaughtered. And that's really what you want to focus on. Same thing with bookings. So I like that name. I think it could work. Oh, you're welcome, Drake. And on that hourly chart, that's exactly what I'll be looking at, those two levels today for ZM. Hey, Zorro. So Square's on that list. I've been looking at this, and here's where we're at, right? Like, I'm not crazy about this, right? That these are kind of lining up. I mean, it's okay, right? Because you could actually say it's a very quiet divergence, but this is still trending down. The overall move's down. This is still down. What I liked yesterday was, and this is what I look for. So when you have massive sell-off days, one of the things you guys might want to remember, and ladies might want to remember, is that if I don't take out a lower low, you want to pay attention. Right. So if I don't take out a lower low and I have volume like this, what does that mean to me? Well, that means to me that I'm probably cleaned up, right? I'm probably cleaned up as far as who the sellers are. And I'm looking for a reversal of this doji and then to get involved. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go straight up, but I think you can get in here 7-8 points, 7-8%, and then kind of lever the position, right? Like once you're in the position, you're in the position. Like there's not really much to do about it. So definitely something that is of interest to me. I actually like that the market's bidding down this morning. I'm actually happy that I'm seeing this. I didn't want to just go straight up. Come down, see if we test certain levels, see if they hold, and then go higher. But in regards to Square, yeah, long term, I'm interested. I'm paying attention to this. And you're going to have some of this, right? So you're going to have some tax selling. I believe, like, let's just go to let's go to here, we'll say. And you're down to here, but that's not really that accurate. We just come to here and just see this. You're really in here. Yeah, you'll have some tax selling, not a lot. But it's definitely something that's on my radar. Let me put it to you that way. It looks awful, but there's a channel right here too, right? So let's get rid of this for a moment. Let me just show you this. Let's actually clean this whole thing up. Let me just show you this channel really quickly. So here's your channel, right? And what you do with these is you clone them. You always want to clone them because by cloning them, you get the same trajectory as the other line, right? And then just look how that sat right in here, right? You can actually see your trading range by doing it this way. So yeah, that's an interesting spot for this to reverse, isn't it? Right? Against the other lower end of this channel. So that's interesting. It's kind of done it once before and then rallied. Perhaps it does it again. So it's on the list. There's no question about it, Zora. Hey, Alexandre, CMG. So one, I'm a huge fan of Chipotle, but so we're going to have to deal with the slurping today. I filled the coffee up too much. So, okay, here's where you're at. right? What's the hurry? All I'm doing is having selling after selling after selling. Why? I don't know. It could be a big insider that's just clearing the position out for next year to raise some capital for new positions. I don't know why it's doing that, but that is not something that I would be jumping into. See how this hit a lower low yesterday, right? You just want to watch these, and it didn't really reverse yet. But it can bounce up to this level, but I don't think it's going to get much higher than that, right? You're going to be in a range here until some news comes out, and whoever this is gets done, because there's obviously a big seller there. Hey, Terry. GM, yeah, I think people are going to start paying attention to these a little bit more. Look, here's how. Let's clean all this up. Get rid of all of it, and let's get rid of the RSI, and let's pull this down. So let's talk about what do we see really happening here. So we can all see that these moving averages are pointing up. You see this cross? Okay, we did this. I think I just did this in the educational workshops. I don't think I did it on a public video yet, but so this is a golden cross. Okay, when the 50 crosses the 200, and I use simple moving averages. You should use whatever you're comfortable with, but what we're focused on is, see how you're crossing here and how these are pointing up and they're getting wider. That's everything you want to see. Now let's get rid of that for a moment. Okay, and now let's just do this. Okay, so here's your level, right? Somebody's up there now. Bonk, right? Gets through. Resistance becomes what? Support. Support breaks. Just happens to open there. Bonk. Reversal. Bonk. I mean, you see where your line is? So for me, there's two things. One, a close above 64.16 would trigger that if I was interested, or getting above 65.18 would probably trigger that. If I get above this long red nasty bar, it's not even that long in red, I'd be interested. The other thing is that a flag doesn't have to have just one bar. You could have, multiple bars for a flag, and that's exactly what you have here. So you have a flag pattern. On top of that flag pattern, Terry, I mean, you're pretty, it's pretty, what's the right word I'm looking for? It's pretty obvious. Let's just do that word. I was thinking for something else, but it's pretty obvious that you have a megaphone pattern there, which means you can go one of two ways. So you have to see what it's going to do, right? You can't just assume. I would assume it's going higher, but with a megaphone pattern and you're on a major trend line, you can reject. So you're going to have to watch. You're going to have to watch how that plays out. So let me turn off one of the computers. The room keeps beeping. So Autodesk, ADSK. So that just looks awful. Like awful. Just avoid it. Yeah, I would just avoid this completely. You need to hold here. Let's get rid of all this again. So yeah, I mean, boom, fails. You bounced off the 50, maybe you're done. What's the RSI look like? Yeah, you can't really go near this. This looks like it's going to be a train wreck. So especially this, like I did this RSI video. You might want to watch it if you haven't. But everything has a trend line, right? And when you break these trend lines with this coinciding, you need to get out of the way. This is telling you something's coming. Maybe it was the earnings. Is that what did it? So yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy how I didn't even know that. This was totally telegraphing that move. Wow. Yeah, you can't go near this. I mean, what you can do is maybe play a bounce if that's what you're trying to do. Obviously, this is not good news for the company, but let's just take a look at a 15-minute chart because this might be worthwhile. And let's just get rid of, let's close this up for a moment and let's close out these indicators. So yeah, so this is, you just got to watch this. Whatever came out, I mean, they couldn't get out fast enough. I mean, when you couldn't get out fast enough, you had a 10% move, and was it 15 minutes or was that all in 1 minute? Let me just see this. Wow. Yeah, that's not something you want to play with. I mean, I'd be really careful here. Like you bounced. This was all, the entire move was almost all 1 minute. So that's not, and you saw no bounce. So be careful. But I mean, look, I can give you some levels if you're thinking of playing it. This would be the first level that I would want to see it clear right there. But you can also see, and you have another level right here that you're having an issue with. So you might want to watch those levels if you want to try to play it for a bounce, but just be really, really careful. So, you own something, you think you're doing okay with it. It's towards the end of the year. This is a large institutional holding. So there's not a lot of retail in here. You think you're doing okay. It's helping your P&L for the year. And then all of a sudden, this comes in and it's just not what you want to see, like at all. You just lost, your profit. And that's not really where you want to be, right? I mean, you had a profit and now it just turned on you. Pretty much the exact opposite of what you want to see right now. Hey, Angela, Tesla, Amazon, long. So, yeah, I know people got excited yesterday with the bounce. It was not on my radar, really. I mean, there were trades that we did in the room. Let's clean all this out and let's just talk about this. So what do we have going on here? Well, this is pretty clean, right? It's pretty clean what's going on there. So, until you're above something like this, you really can't go near it. I mean, to me, let's turn this off and just talk about what happened yesterday. We opened up and sold down all day, encapsulating days. So I would be careful here. I would be really careful. Now, what you could look at if you're looking to try to be long is you want to just watch this. Like if you break that level or get near that level, you could try it. And then if it fails, I mean, you want other patterns associated with it, right, Angela? Like you want to look at a 15-minute or an hourly chart, find something that makes sense depending upon your time frame and see how it acts at that level. The issue that I'm seeing with something like this is it's not something that I'm going to tell you that you got to be rushing into, but I'd like to see this level. I'd like to see how this happens. And I really want to see this test across the board on the market, but here's 1062.70. You want to see the selling. You want to see the test these levels, because if you break these levels, you got to get out of the way, right? Just like with NVIDIA coming in today, I'll be watching it. If I break this level, I have to get out of the way, right? If you break that doji, you have a problem. So same thing, okay? Same thing with the market, right? This market takes out this low, you're going to have to get out of the way. Could get nasty. So same thing with Tesla. If you're looking right now, I would not be looking at Tesla and going, I need to buy it. This is a completely different story. So the issue here is we ran up, right? And we ran up since for the Rivian IPO, right? And then we got to the top again and we clearly rejected this level again. Then we clearly rejected this level again. And now we rejected this again. And we're trying to hold it and not get back into the gap. This is not something that I see any reason to own right here. I don't see my edge to try to play this for swings. Like if you're even long term, this is not where I would buy it. So I would see if you get a massive sell down and then look at it so that you could be in for the Christmas earnings report, right? But I would not be a buyer here. Not the way that chart's set up right now. I would wait. That's what the indicator's telling you. Yeah, I mean, it did hold, but I just don't see the edge there. I think Tesla's more interesting, Angela. You're welcome, Neil. So what we want when we do options is we want implied volatility to increase when we own it, not decrease. Just think about it that way, buddy. Hope that's helpful. Gobble, gobble, Boca. ZM. Hey, Inkster, I did ZM. I'll cover it again because I know it's on everybody's list. So let's just talk about what happened here, and I'll just go through this very quickly. So this is what I'm looking at. I could be on either side of this trade today, and I'm going to get off the pre and post. So this here, right? This is a bear flag, okay? And then what you did at the end of the day, and this is why you ran up, is you got above the high point of the bear flag on the day towards the end of the day, right around 2 o'clock, right? So everybody's like, oh, it didn't work, or it worked and I want to recoup my capital. Either way, they use this level right here for a mark. Then you trade up, you look great, but now you have this doji. Wicks or what? Price rejection. We reject. Now we're down here on like 1/10 of the bar. It's not where you want to be, right? Doesn't mean it can't work. It's just not where you want to be. So for me, I could be on either side of this. If I break that level right there off the open, 205.83 is the right level. I call it 205.75. You could be short this and say, oh, I may have a, it's not perfect, but you may have a Morningstar pattern and I might retest this 198 level. Okay. If I break this 210, you're going to see the panic set in where people are going to be like, oh, I knew I should have covered yesterday. I always do this. I mean, the stories, we all say them in our head. And, and then you go from there. 218, it could get to. Through 218, it becomes very interesting to me because you could gap fill. But it's on the list to watch today. Hey, Utu. Coin, I was looking at this yesterday. I was actually looking at this yesterday and trying to figure out what the play is here, right? So there should be something, right? But let's just do this on the daily for a minute, and then I'm going to go to the hourly. So it's really important, and I can't stress this enough, and I've been saying this, that this is a cup. The handle should not technically be in the cup. So it's kind of hard to say you're in a handle. What I like about yesterday was 307. This whole area right here was respected. I like that. So I like that this was respected, right? Bonk, couldn't break it. Bonk, couldn't break it. And let me just go through this real quick, even though it's not perfect, but it's like one of my cursive H's. This is an H, okay? So if it was going to break the H, this could get ugly. The thing is, it didn't break the H. So you may be setting up for a reversal pattern, failed H breakout, which are pretty powerful because you have a lot of people betting against them. So that's really what you're going to watch, that level right there. If that level flips, then you have the ability to possibly challenge this 332, right wherever this wedge is, break through that wedge, and you're back to here. So that's my level. That's where it gets interesting for me, 320, right around there. So good morning. Hey, Emily. Yeah, I like ZM. So for me, ZM, I like ZM. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Please click the like button. I don't start these every morning at the same time, and you're going to want to be notified. I try to do 8:30, but sometimes it's 5 minutes or on one way or another. Let's get back to where we were. ZIM, not Zoom. I got Zoom on the brain. So here's your level, and now you're going to rally, and then you're going to head up, okay? And this is where you're going to go to 62.33. So I like it. I like it. We just have to see how it's going to act. It's got to settle in. We still haven't broken the 8. And what you're having here, look, let's get rid of these indicators. Let's get rid of all these lines. What's happening here is you have here's one long red bar, right? Here's a doji. It's got to make a decision. It broke, made that decision. But these bars are getting smaller. So you're kind of setting up here, right? Get above this bar, get above 55, and then maybe you re-challenge the top of this doji. That's how I would look at it if I was interested in that, right? Hey, Dan, so I don't know if it's going to, look, you have data, and then we just don't know how that data is going to be responded to, right? We all go on the assumption that that's going to be good news. The issue for me is that unless you're really fully cognizant of what it means, people read it two different ways. So you came in at what? 250, 2,050,000 on continuing claims. So you're supposed to come in at 2,033. So you kind of missed the number. I'm just looking at them right now. Durable goods got slaughtered, right? Durable goods came in at 0.2, or we're supposed to come in at 0.2. came in at -5. I mean, that could be why we're down. I mean, that shows that people are not buying goods, right? That shows a weak economy, lack of confidence. It's not what you want to see. GDP missed. It was supposed to be 2.2%, came in at 2.1. That's not really what you want to see. So, something to consider. Jobless claims, initial jobless claims were really good. 260 was what you were looking for versus 199. So we could be selling down because they look so good that people are like, oh, you're going to have to raise rates. I don't think that's what you're saying. If I was to look at all that economic data and give you a quick, dirty what's going on, they looked at the durable goods number and they didn't see what they liked. And the GDP confirmed that. That's how I would view the news today. I don't really view it as tanking. I view it as we're going to test support levels. So, I mean, it's exactly what I want to see. Even though, I have some new positions I bought yesterday that I'll probably get a little dinged on, but that's today. Today's a volatile day, a very volatile day. And it could be one that, just sells down all day. We'll have to see. But I'll be on the long side looking for trades. I mean, I have a position in NVIDIA I bought yesterday, carried overnight. I'm down. Yeah, I'm in it right around here actually, but it's not what I want. So it is what it is, but doesn't mean that there's not opportunity. So yeah, I mean, look, people are locking in profits. They're doing all kinds of trades. This is where you start looking at buying this, right? So this is where you need to be a buyer of this. I mean, it trades differently. You're buying a value company. There's growth associated with it, but you're buying a value company. So when you get to these levels where institutions will buy it, you can see how every time it breaks these levels, there's just buying. And I think that that's going to continue. So that's how I view it. What kind of action or lack of can we expect to see Friday? So Friday is going to be super slow. Okay. Super, super slow. I like days like that because there are sometimes moves that are extremely volatile. And if you can catch one, it's like catching a tiger's tail. So it's like today could be like that, right? You could be buying NVIDIA down $2 or 2% today and it finished flat. Like that happens on days like today. These are great trading days, but you must understand what they are. You're just being volatile because of the lack of volume. So let's just keep going. Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Anytime. Good morning, NVIDIA, Apple. So, Bob, I touched base on this. We had a question, I think it was from Neil a little earlier about calls. So the reason that I'm not doing a lot in the room right now, I did some, but the reason I'm not doing a lot is because the implied volatility, especially of those names that you just went over, is increased dramatically. Like yesterday, I bought, what did I do? I did it for a trade. I bought Tesla calls when it went down to like 1060. I'll show you the trade. Okay, and like what I did. So, and I put it in the alert in the room. But see this level, and then you bounced, right? So right around here, there was a little thing that happened that gave me a little signal. Okay, see this line right here? This line goes back further. I'm not gonna have time to do it. So I have this pattern that sat right there. I can just kind of walk you through this whole trade real quick. Let me put this in, get rid of these. Okay. So see how we're here? Like, look, this was the trade. Okay, so I had a positive divergence on the 1 minute as it's dropping. And this is what's so important to understand. You had a positive divergence since back here, right? So you can't get involved just because you have a positive divergence. You need to see something. And this is exactly what I needed to see, right? Came down, forms a morning star right on the support line. Plus I have this other channel right here. Plus this is going on. I reverse, okay? that was my signal. So I bought this at like I think I got it at 166 or 168, something like that. And I bought the 1100s for the weekly 1100s. I traded from here up to here. Okay. And I think they moved maybe $7. Like it's the implied volatility is just crazy right now. So you're going to have to watch that. That's really going to affect your returns. So it's not that appealing to me. I'm actually on the other side of that where I'm selling options. So I did better yesterday selling puts than buying calls because of the implied volatility. It was when you understand how to do that, it was a great way to just make it, a little extra money off of some of these positions. If you don't understand what you're doing, you can get crushed. UPST. So I hope that's clear, Bob. I don't know if you're in. I think you're in the room, Bob. If you are, I'm going to do an advanced options class before the end of the year. So I want to show people how to do that because I think there's some people in there that are pretty advanced with options. Or have a good sense of it, I should say. So I'd like to do that. I think you got to be really careful here. So you didn't reverse. You're basically trying to hold on to this 191.89 level, right? You got through it yesterday. That's not good. And if I break that, I'm going to 165. Throw in the 200 and the 50 because that's really all that matters. And right, I mean, you already know the 21, the 8's pointing down. So here, I mean, what is remotely redeeming about that, right? Not a whole heck of a lot. RBLX, AMAB. In the video we did, so let me do RBLX and AMA. So we're stopped out $16 gain. Disappointing. I was like all excited, it's really going to go. And it just happens. And then when you broke down here, that was pretty clean, right? But I wanted to see the stop. And we got stopped. And that was very disappointing. But it happens. It's a trade. Could have been worse. I should be grateful that we made what we made. Question is, what do you do now? This bar is just nasty. And I needed a doji yesterday. And I didn't get that doji. So that was concerning to me. It was actually on the short list to be in the top 5. I thought I was going to get a doji yesterday, and I didn't. So what do I do now with it? I just avoid it. Until this builds itself up now, I got to avoid it until I can get over this level, and then I got to look at it again. But until then, I don't do anything with it. AMBA, that looked like it came down to a specific level, right? Yeah. So this is what we're looking for. This is what you're looking for, this little edge right there. Okay. I like this. I don't like how this is falling down and breaking the 50. That's never good, but I do like it. Twilio, long. So, yeah, I mean, here's my level. It's on my watch list. I mean, let's be honest. It's on the watch list. I like this. Right? I've got an RSI that's positive. I got it breaking here. You're selling it down for tax reasons. Twilio's a massively important company. And they're a leader. So I think they're going to be around. I mean, that's how I look at it. So this UPST, I probably should have thrown this pre and post in. You can already see that it's breaking again, right? So I would just avoid it. I just think they're selling the heck out of it. Let's get back to Twilio. And then I'm going to have to jump here in a moment, get back in the room. And I know I'm behind. So this is where you're at. What do you do here? I think you have to watch and wait, see how this performs. Let's just look at this in a little greater detail. So, yeah, I mean, you could bounce here. You're really far off the 8. I mean, you really shouldn't be this far off the 8, right? So you could bounce here. You just have to see and watch this pattern and let it play out. Maybe a higher high, a green bar, and then the next day a kicker, like use that green bar as a kicker for the next trade. But there could be something there. I'm going to have to jump to the front. Oh, I'm not that far off. Good. Is Microsoft done? I don't think it's done. I like the name. We're still in it. Yeah, Ford had a great run, and now Rivian's, it's over. I mean, it's going to settle in. It's a value stock. It's going to trade. So NIO. Look, you run right to this level. Now you're already trying to break out. Maybe it goes. Maybe it goes, Alberto. I mean, you've got some things that are going for you, right? Okay, that's nice. I like that break. I like how you rallied back through the 50 and you're pushing. I like how you're above the 200. I like how you broke, went to the 50, held the 50, got above the 200. And I like how you have volume here. This could work. My level's still 44 on it, but that could work. If I broke this low of 40 and a quarter, I'd be concerned that I'm going to wind up challenging this 38.50 again. So, let's just keep going through these. KOS. I know you don't play that little guys with this cup and handle for me. KOS was a name I played with a while ago. I forget why, but I did play with this. I think it was back here or something. I don't really remember. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a cup, but here's the problem, and you just have to remember this. When you're in here, the handle's now in your thing. Your handle's now in the thing. So we're going to have to watch that. And we'll go from there. So you just have to watch it. All right. I don't know if it breaks $4, maybe. Rivian's a trade at best right now, Laura. I mean, that's how you have to think about it, right? It's just a trade. I mean, to me, look, I think we throw these in. Okay. Throw these in. We still don't have enough data. We're going to have to go to like a 15-minute and just look at it. I mean, these are my levels. Let's get rid of this. They're all my levels. I mean, you can literally take a photo of it if you want. That's how it's been trading. It's been trading perfectly off those levels. If you look at it, bounce, tests, retests another level, falls down, rejects, buy, right? I mean, you can see them. They're pretty good. So if you're interested in trading, I'd take a snapshot of that. They're all the levels you need to know. GSL, better shipping play long term. Is it? I don't know enough about that industry to say who's better and who's not. The stock looks great. I mean, you know, obviously since back here, wow. I mean, it's just been a monster. Great trade. Looks like we're having trouble with this top of this channel. So, but looks great. Yeah, please like the video. I'm trying to get in front of as many people as possible to help them and educate them. Please like it and make sure you subscribe. Thanks, Utu. I sold them yesterday on options. Question by Monday, Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, yeah, Bob, we might be looking at options again. That's true. We might be looking at options again. That's true. DLTR. What's going on, Nestor? So, yeah, just a freaking monster move yesterday, right? Wow. I didn't play it, but just an absolute monster. The question is, what do you do now with it? Well, now you're in this range. You almost need to break out 150, 149 and a half if we can go near it. Let me just see something. Maybe there's another smaller way to get you in. Yeah, I mean, that's really hard, especially with this up here. Look. So, I mean, this is exhaustion, right? There's a shooting star. That's a perfect evening star. So you might test down here, which is, you know, you might test here and then see if you hold, and then maybe you could try it there instead of waiting for 150. But you might have to see if it holds that level, Nestor. Oh, that's interesting. Brian, it got killed yesterday. I had options in it. It was my single greatest loss on the day. I kept buying them and just getting stopped out again. And then this is where I just kind of like threw in the towel. I was like, that's enough. When we broke here, I'll show you. But I've got time. There's not very little I'm doing this morning. Hold on. So, I mean, I broke out here. I got all excited and giddy. I got stopped out earlier, and then I bought them back, and then it just reversed on me. I mean, it did everything. You had a lot of stocks yesterday break orb levels solely to lure you in, and this was one of them. I would watch this. This was a disaster yesterday. This showed clear selling. Clear selling. SATS. So Echo Star. Yep. Yep, you got to just watch that level. That's perfect right there. That level looks great. How you doing volume-wise? Yeah, that looks beautiful. Really nice find. Yeah, that can work. It's probably one of the better charts I've seen today. I don't know why I'm not getting any economic data news showing, but I like that. I like that a lot. Did I miss something with pre and post? No, good. Yeah, I like that. That's good to know, Eric. You're welcome, Jen. Yeah, I covered both, Jay. They're both in there. Tesla 1069 is support, and NIO over 44. I'd be careful today, right? I'd be buying the dips and selling into the rips. Okay, it's going to be a wonky day. So yeah, I'll cover them real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this up. So let's go here. Yeah. So, I mean, you're breaking down kind of like how we talked about this, right? So see how you can't hold above that level? That should really concern you. So it's definitely a concern of mine. And I think it's something that you need to be aware of. So just watch that. You know, I mean, I think you're going to 53,000. And I think if you break 53,000, you're coming back down to here, right? Like technically when you break like this, you're going to get to this level. I only got 5 minutes here. ETH. So, I'm sorry. Let's do this. ETH USD. Let's get this one done. So I like this a lot better because it's holding. And that's really what you want to see. And so we'll see how that goes. But, you know, I really like it. And I think that it could absolutely work. But you want to buy it right here, right? And then see if it pops up. I like it. I mean, I think that this is, look, for people that understand this stuff, when they explain the utility of Ethereum over Bitcoin, I find it fascinating. If you really understand it. But you can see your level, break above this, and you should go. All right, that's it, everybody. Trade sharp. Enjoy your time off. Happy Thanksgiving.